Today in the shop, I'm planning to replace the spark plugs in my 1959 220 SE, and I just want to share with you a little tip. If you've seen some of my other videos, you know that when I go to install spark plugs, I start them by hand using a rubber hose like this. And in a number of our kits, we provide this hose. The idea is that you can get down in there and turn this very carefully to get it started. In these aluminum heads, if you cross thread these threads here, you're going to have a big wrench dance, let me tell you. So I'm always very careful. I don't apply a wrench to the spark plugs until I get it almost all the way in and sometimes all the way down and bottomed out with the rubber hose, then I can pull it off. Now this is standard rubber hose. You notice something about this hose that's a little bit different than this hose over here? Look, it has a slight curve to it. And no matter how I try to straighten this rubber fuel hose out, it comes in a coil when you buy it and I cannot straighten it out. Now I use personally this braided hose. This is 9mm. It goes on a little bit tighter on the plug, and because it's braided it really holds, and you can really get some torque on the spark plug with this hose, where the rubber hose will tend to slip like this. So I prefer the braided hose, even though I give people the rubber hose in these spark plug kits that I sell. The problem is this particular hose is not really easy to find and it's quite expensive. But I know if I shoot this video today, people are going to ask, hey Ken, where do you get this hose? So beginning after January, this is being filmed in December of 2018, after January I'll have this available on my website in 1 foot lengths. So you can cut it into 2 pieces or use an extra long piece. But this hose is amazing. You get this on the end of the spark plug, not only does it grip real well, but because it's super straight and much more flexible, look at the flex. See, this is real stiff, but the braided hose is very flexible. You can stick it down in a very, very tight spark plug cavity on an engine. Take a look here at this 220 SE. It's not that bad, but a couple months ago I was doing a compression test on my 6.3, and look at the cavities in that engine. It's a very tight fit in the engine compartment, and you know, I'm looking down and I can hardly see the spark plug hole. So by putting this down in there, you can kind of slightly tip the plug and turn it a little bit until you can feel it going. Just like here on the 6.3, I had to mess around with it a little bit. But finally, when I got it started, I'm feeling it. Remember, I'm feeling it with my fingertips in my right hand, and I was able to turn that all the way in and bottom it out and then easily remove the hose. Then I put the spark plug socket on it and torque the plugs. So the most important thing is that you start the spark plugs by hand before you ever put a wrench on them. And I recommend you use some sort of rubber hose, and preferably, if you want real finesse, use the braided hose that I'm showing you right here. And as a side benefit, you can use this hose to remove the plug so it doesn't drop down in the engine compartment. I mean, look at how tight these 2 plugs are in behind this fuel injection pump. I can't even get my hand down in there to reach the plug. So if I'm trying to ease it out of there and it drops in behind the injection pump, it's just a pain. So when you get the plug loose, go down in here and push the rubber on. Once you get it on there, you can just rotate it out. Now see how tight that is to get to that. I almost need a longer hose here. But I can just turn it the rest of the way out by hand. Okay. Now I can just ease it out like that. Look at that. Isn't that slick? That'll keep you from dropping those plugs down in the engine compartment where you can't get to them.